how many properties would you like to have if you could buy them for 10, 20, or 30 cents on the dollar? So you could buy them low, and then you could sell them low, and you could do that quickly. Welcome back. Today's episode, I'm going to reveal how to add seller financing to accelerate the sale and generate more revenue from your sale. Now, this is important. People are learning how to do seller financing. It makes a big difference in how quickly you can sell a property. Now, I know you want to sell quickly because you want to get to the bank. Now, I'm Ted Thomas. I've been involved in tax defaulted properties for over 30 years' time. I've found out if you can have installment sales, you'll increase your sales, number one, and you'll increase your prices, number two, and you'll accelerate the whole process. So learn about installment sales, very popular. All right, now most of the strategies that accelerate things are going to be something you're going to have to learn because most people don't have time to teach you about it. So let's learn a little bit about these tax defaulted properties, and then let's try to start in your search now, learn a lot about installment sales. And that's what we're going to cover in this particular episode. So when I started out in this hidden market, I can tell you there was a lot of properties, and there still is a lot of properties. There's an abundance of these properties at tax defaulted auction in over 3,000 counties. However, lots of people buy the property, but they don't know how to market property. And that's probably the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make, is they don't know how to market the property, or they just don't understand marketing at all. All right, but if you understand seller financing, it's going to make a big difference. So nationwide, expect there to be 3,000 plus tax defaulted auctions. You can buy at any one of those auctions online, or you can buy offline. All right, now what are you going to do with the property? You need to think about that right away. All right, now I don't make the rules. The legislature in each state makes the rules. And what are the rules? Well, the rules are very simple. Everyone must pay property tax. So if someone doesn't pay property tax, well, I can tell you right now, the Board of Supervisors, they have to enforce the rules. And what are they going to do? Well, they're going to send out notices of default, and they're going to send lots of them. So they start out with a lien against the property, then that becomes a levy against the property, then that becomes lots of default notices being sent, and then finally, if the people haven't paid the tax, that property is going to be confiscated, and then after the seizure takes place, it's going to be sold at a tax defaulted auction. Now, the county needs money, and so they're going to be very serious about this business. When I say serious, if people don't pay their property tax, they're going to go after them right now because the county is able to pay their bills from the property taxes. So the property tax revenue that comes in goes to the county, then the county can pay the school teachers, the fire department, they can pay the police department, they can pay the county employees. You're getting the idea. So the official county treasurer is going to take action. So if people don't pay their property tax locally, that's going to end up as a property that gets levied upon, and once it's levied upon, they're going to confiscate and seize the property and sell it at a tax defaulted auction. Now, they don't care what they sell it for. They just want to get the back taxes. So many times these properties have a high valuation, but they sell for 60, 70, 80% less than the tax assessed value. Why? Because the county treasurer just wants to collect the back taxes. All right, now, the property is going to be sold at auction. The auction starts at very close to the back taxes. Now, what does that mean? That means it could start out at 10 or 20 cents on the dollar. All right, now, how many properties would you like to have if you could buy them for 10, 20, or 30 cents on the dollar? So you could buy them low, and then you could sell them low, and you could do that quickly. How many would you want to do? Well, you'd want to do as many as you could, or as many as you can afford. Well, that's what's happening at tax defaulted auction. All right, now, over and above the low price at the auction, the treasurer is going to cancel the mortgage and the deed of trust loan on that property. They're just going to cancel it out. Now, municipal liens and federal liens might still be on the property, so you want to check on that before you buy. Properties are going to be sold. Most of them will be free of liens because not everybody ends up with a municipal or a federal lien on the property. All right, so the point is, be sure and check for those other liens. All right, now how are you going to go about selling a property? It's not all that complicated, but you have to do a lot of things. Now, people get all mixed up on marketing. They think they're going to put a little sign out in the front lawn, and that's going to get the job done. That won't get the job done in the marketplace today. You need to get on the ball and really do a lot of things. So you need to learn put it on Redfin, put it on multiple listing service, put it on eBay, put it on Zillow, Trulia, Craigslist, any electronic site that you can find. Plus use the newspapers, use all the clubs, send notices in the neighborhood. You got to take a lot of action when it comes to selling property. If you don't, you're going to be a long time in selling. Now, I know what you want to do. You bought it for pennies. You want to sell it for some number above that. Well, that's what this is. It's a margin business. Buy it low, try to sell it low, and try to do it quickly. Now, make sure that what you've done before you even bid on that property is you've looked at it. If you haven't looked at the property and looked at the neighborhood, how are you going to know what you're going to sell it for? So I tell all my clients, don't buy the property until you've looked at it and you've looked at the neighborhood. Now, I've been involved with guiding people for over 30 years, teaching them how to do this. What's the biggest challenge they have? Well, I'm going to tell you. The biggest problem that they always have is they don't go and check the property. What does that mean? They're just going to buy anything, and they think it's going to be a good deal, and they're going to pray that this is all going to work. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Prayer is not a good business strategy. You need to look at the property. You need to have boots on the ground. You need to check the neighborhood, and you need to know what you're going to sell that property for. Now, the county government is selling a property as is. That means buyer beware. So if you haven't checked the public records and you haven't looked at that property, you've made a big mistake. What if there's a federal lien on the property? What if there's something wrong with the property and you haven't looked at it? Biggest problem is people don't go look at the property. Second biggest problem they have, guess what? They don't have any idea about a selling strategy. If you don't have those two strategies figured out, do not buy at one of these auctions. All right, now if you do buy, let's talk about how we're going to sell it. All right, well, we're going to market the property, but you need to figure out, can you sell it and give an installment sale? Installment sales make all the difference because people are attracted. They want a low down payment. They want to make payments. America buys payments. I'm telling you right now, America buys payment. So there's properties at these auctions. If you bought the wrong one, you could end up with a junker. If you bought the right one, you might find it probably just needed paint and clean, and then you could sell it. Now, if you advertise it properly and you advertise the fact that when you're doing this marketing, you're telling them that you give installment sale, I'll tell you, you'll make a profit on the property quickly because a lot of people will be attracted to it, and you'll make a profit on the financing because many of these people can't get a loan. I've found out about 25% of all the people that are looking to buy a property, they don't qualify because they have a poor FICO score and they've already been to a bank and they've been rejected. All right, so the biggest advantage that you're going to have is take some training and learn how to do this. Why do you want to learn how to do it? Because you don't want to make mistakes. All right, if you win a property at auction, you need to know how to sell it. So it would be wise to learn how to sell before you learn how to buy. Why? How are you going to get rid of the property? Yes, you might have bought it right, but if it's in the wrong neighborhood, or it's a junker, or it's got federal liens against it, those could be some problems. A lot of people don't want to consider the problem. All right, now, the financing is very important. The details of that, I'll give you more details on installment sales as we go along. Okay, but let me give you one example right now. And this example is a couple from Wisconsin. They decided they wanted to buy in Michigan. All right, so they attended the auction. All right, I won't go through every detail of it, but the property, there was snowing that day. A lot of people didn't show up. They purchased a used and abused property. It wasn't a junker by any means, but they only spent $8,000. However, the property value was $55,000. So now they're buying a property less than 20 cents on the dollar. All right, they realized that the property needed a little cleanup, a little tidying up. It didn't need a lot of major repair, but it did need to be cleaned up. So they cleaned it up and they tidied it up. That cost them another $4,000 to haul everything away and make the thing look somewhat pretty. So now they invested $8,000. They put another $4,000 in, so they're in it for a total of $12,000, and they started marketing the property. Now, how did they do that? Well, they used all the sources that I mentioned, but the source that actually produced the buyer happened to be Facebook Marketplace, and in Facebook Marketplace, they got an almost immediate offer for $35,000. Now, think about this. They only had $12,000 in it, and they got an offer for $35,000. So they're going to double their money on the first offer. Not too bad. All right. The buyer offered or asked and requested, will you give me installment payments? So they agreed to do that also. Well, this really worked out very well. So they not only made money when they bought the property, because they bought it low and they sold it low, they made money there, some $23,000, but then they financed the property, and when they financed the property with installment sales, then they made another $15,000. If you add it all up, these people made $38,000, almost $40,000 profit, and they had only invested $12,000. Not too bad. Good business to be in. All right, now I'm going to continue. I'm going to tell you the solution to all this. The solution was the marketing. What did they do? They put it on Craigslist. They put it on multiple listing service. They put signs on it. They did every advertising thing that they could think of. Guess what? They sold the property relatively quickly. Now, I'm running out of time, so what I want to do is I want you to take a quick look at this map. You see those little white circles? That's how many auctions are taking place within that state. This calendar updates every single day. I'm here today to show you how to make money. To do that, I'm going to show you briefly that there are thousands of tax defaulted real estate properties across the 3,000 plus counties in the United States. This is quite interesting. You're looking at the Ted Thomas Magic Interactive Map and Auction Calendar. It changes every day. Now, I created the calendar and the map so I would know how many auctions are taking place every day in the United States. Now I can show the little guy how to make money. Most importantly, I created this system so I could have an auction list for each auction 24/7. Now, the counties that have small populations, they're going to have properties for auction. Sometimes it's only a dozen, maybe up to 100. But the counties that have large populations, they're going to have 100, 200, up to 1,000 properties for sale. You'd like to know more about that? Well, you can go right below me and you can learn where those properties are located and how many are available. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget, request your free gift right below me.